Okay, Paul, I'm here with Paul. Welcome to Tile Coach, everybody. I hope you can join in. This is really short notice for a live stream, and I usually schedule them at times when people could be home. But I have Paul here joining me. Who's Paul? You're a contractor in Canada, is that correct?
Yeah, correct. Yep.
Where in Canada are you located approximately? You're the town.
So where I'm out of is a little town called Wabashine, Ontario. I'm about an hour and a half or so north of Toronto.
Okay,
So up in the Aurelia, Midland, Barrie area is where I service.
okay. And so we have another one of these Schluter Kerdi line failures that I've already covered here. And those of you that watch my channel, you know that I've used those drains a lot. I continue to use them, so it's something that I'm very interested in, and I'm very concerned about. So that's the reason why I like to talk about it, and also to inform anybody else who's out there that uses these Schluter products and has the same concerns that I do. So I'm just going to run a little movie of what happened. Or also, so here, actually, here's the picture here. Um,
Mhm.
this is showing, similar. We have red guard on there, but I'll let you explain that a little bit
Yeah,
later why the
yeah,
red guard is on there.
right.
But there's the just. We have the delamination between the Kerdi fleece and the stainless steel bonding flange, very similar to all the other failures that I've seen. And here's a little movie clip
Okay,
showing.
Isaac, here's where the leak is coming from. The obviously the Schluter fleece has come off, and that's where the leak is coming from right there.
Yeah.
There's not even any adhesion at all. The fleece to the channel body.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's basically the gist of it. It's like same thing we've been seeing. So yeah, first off, Paul, let's explain how it got to this point and why it has red guard on there like that.
Yeah, so about 2 weeks after the installation is when the customer called me. This is only going back, it's only been in May. I did the installation in May, so it's only been about 2.5 months or so.
Yeah, let me back up real quick, Paul. I just want to let the viewers know that you are a tile contractor. You're a professional.
Yeah,
You've used Schluter products for a long time,
yeah,
and
many.
and so you're not a homeowner, do-it-yourselfer type that is using red guard. So yeah, go. Sorry, go ahead.
Exactly. The Red Guard was the last kind of a last ditch effort. But so when they called me and it was leaking, I went and had a look, obviously, and right away that day, and could not find where the leak was coming from. At the installation of the Schluter, it's all Schluter, everything's Schluter. There's Den shield on the walls, but it's got Kerdi membrane on the walls, so the entire thing is Schluter.
Hmm.
So I did a flood test on it and ran the shower, ran the shower without plugging the drain or anything, and I couldn't produce a leak. So it was a good half an hour I ran the shower, could not get it to leak. So I thought maybe it was coming from around the plate on the shower controller.
Hmm.
And I don't usually put caulking on those because I don't like the look of it. They have that
The
rubber membrane
valve.
on the back. Yeah, that seals
Yeah,
it to the tile.
yeah.
So I caulked it anyways, thinking, okay, maybe a little bit of water's getting through there, and that's where it's coming from. I said, okay, it should be fixed. And then the next day, no, same problem.
Hmm.
So when I went back, I started to question my waterproofing technique, and maybe I'd missed something in the corner. When I
Hmm.
finally diagnosed that it was coming from around the drain area, I took the three tiles up that were in front of the drain. I think I sent a picture of that to you as well, and and thought maybe a little spot might have been up off of the fleece where the channel body met the pan.
Hmm.
So I decided let's red guard that. I just want to put a bit of red guard. Actually, I put a piece of Kerdi on there first, and then I red
Hmm.
guarded over top of all that and let it set. There's three coats I think of red guard on there, so it's pretty thick.
Hmm.
And let it set, and then the next day we flooded it up to the drain, but not into the drain,
Okay.
and it didn't produce a single drop of water. So I thought, okay, I got it. I found the leak somewhere in there. There was the leak, but I fixed it.
Mhm.
And thought, okay, that's great. Let's get the water out of here and get some new tiles down. Life goes on. But as soon as I started swishing the water out into the drain, um, the homeowner was downstairs and he said, "That's leaking again."
Mhm.
I thought, where is this water coming from? I could not figure out where this water was coming from. And I think that was the third attempt to fix. I did run some caulking and stuff around the, the perimeter before I took those tiles up. And that still didn't fix it, obviously. And it was at that moment, I'm on the floor in the bathroom. I'm about to bang my head off the wall trying to figure out what's going on when I discovered your video. I'd never even had seen you before, so I looked up shower line drains leaking, and your video was the first one that came up, and it pointed to that fleece coming off of the channel body, and I thought that's got to be it. So that's when I got a hold of you and the Schluter rep, and I hadn't touched it since.
Mhm.
So today they came out to do their investigation, and then they found that separation.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's amazing how Google does such a good job of getting the correct information to people that's needed.
Yeah.
It's almost like they're reading minds. So
Exactly. Exactly.
um,
Yeah.
yeah,
So I don't usually Red Guard. I never use Red Guard.
yeah.
This is actually the second time in my life I've ever used Red Guard, but it
Mhm.
was a last ditch effort to see if I could
Yeah,
stop up the leak. Right.
yeah, and so a local territory manager in my area, when I first heard about these line drains, the first one that I heard of was in 2014, and I thought it was a fluke. And so it was in the back of my mind. I never really thought about it. Of course, we use these drains. I'm like, yeah, it must have been just some fluke, a bad drain or whatever. And then I had a conversation with my local territory rep, and he brought it to me, and I think he was kind of trying to be proactive and be like, okay, before Isaac hears about it from everybody else, I'd like to get in front of it. And he explained to me that the it was a one-off manufacturing defect where one of the production line installer, putting the fleece on there, used a solvent on the stainless steel, which prevented the bond from happening. And I go, wow. I go, well, yeah, that's a big issue if this guy's cranking these drains out and they're all like that. And at the time, he even told me, he goes, yeah, we're covering all of the fixes. He goes, whenever these things happen, we're covering them. Even if, and he even told me, he said, even if they have some other products mixed in. And he goes, and he said, for example, we had this one I just looked at a couple days ago, and it had Red Guard. He had used Red Guard also as part of the waterproofing membrane, and we still covered the full cost of installation. So, they're aware of it, and you know, I don't know exactly why. And so tell me now, where does it stand? You just had the meeting with the Schluter rep this morning. Where does
Yeah.
it stand now?
So when I called them a couple of weeks ago and explained what I did, just exactly what I told you, um, their main right away they went to, well, you should have called us first. And I said, well, if I'd have known that this was an issue, I would have. But
Mm-hmm.
Tilemaster, the company I deal with that supplies these products to me, they didn't know apparently.
Mm-hmm.
So they wouldn't have passed that on to any of the installers.
Mm-hmm.
So how is an installer to know, using Schluter so many times and not having an issue? The one time you do have an issue, you think it's your fault, right? Like you did something wrong.
Yeah. So
Not
you've used Schluter for a long time, correct? That's
Yeah, yeah, 15
primary
years. Yeah,
manufacturing.
long time. Yeah, long time. I have many, many, many of these drains out there, which is
Yeah.
a little scary to me now. But the thing is, had I known this was a problem, of course, the first call I would have made to them. But I didn't. I didn't know that. So
Mm-hmm.
the Red Guard was just a last ditch effort on my part, thinking I did something wrong to try and fix it when the whole time it had nothing to do with me. It
Mm-hmm.
was the drain
So
itself.
is that what they're saying, that they
Yeah,
are not going to cover the cost of
yeah,
installation? They
yeah.
told you
So
that
they said
straight up
because
today.
they said because I used another product, that I've avoided any kind of warranty that would be associated with this install. And even today, so the best that they could offer me today was a new drain. And that was it, even though seeing the problem as plain as day, like you could see it as plain as day. This is the issue.
Yes.
They're still not willing to cover any of the damage, any of the repair cost as it stands. He said they have. So what they've done is he's taken the drain with him. They took it out. I kind of fought him on that. I said, no, if you take that drain, what do I have left as proof, right? I have video, I have pictures. But if they take it with them, then it's no longer in my hands. They could do what they want with it, right? So I made sure, but I had to. My hands were tied. If I didn't let them take it, likely they would come back and say, you didn't let us finish our investigation. So going forward, we can't do anything for you. So that was my worry. And then my second worry is, we've got the drain now. You didn't do this properly, which everything was done properly. What kind of excuse are they going to come up with scientifically that's going to say this was the issue and not their bonding was an issue? So that's what's got me worried.
So did you ask them if you could have it back at any point? I mean, or did they say this is ours now to keep?
No, I didn't. I would imagine if I did ask for it back, I would get it back, because it doesn't belong to them. It belongs to the homeowner. They've paid for it, but they had to sign a contract and everything too, saying it was okay for Schluter to do what they've done. So, I mean, everything's documented really well. So I'm hoping it's enough.
Yeah.
That going forward, yes. I told him too. I said, I've seen where you guys, like, I'm not just a one-off. I'm not going to buy one drain and never buy another drain. I buy, like, you can go back. I've bought thousands and thousands of dollars worth of drains and equipment and stuff from Schluter before. And I'm going to, in the future, also, because I like Schluter. I have nothing against them at all. But, that being said, I'm an installer. Are you going to treat me this way and not cover, what has happened, not cover the damages, not cover the cost of repairs?
Yeah, that's probably the most surprising part of this story to me, is that you're a contractor who's loyally used their products, and you're going to be using them in the future. And that's really kind of a turnabout from their policy that they've had up until now. That everything I've heard, I even had, I mean, it was probably maybe longer, maybe 6 months ago, and I shared it on that last live stream that I did about the failure, that there was a gentleman in Utah who was a DIYer, and he had it happen. The Schluter rep came out and said, no, we're going to take care of everything. And so that's just a DIYer who was just buying a one-off. And now we're at the point where there's contractors who readily use their products, and they're denying the claims. So you could only assume that the scope of the issue at hand is probably bigger than they had originally thought. I think it's just getting too big. And then you also saw my video last week about the Dietrich heat issue that they had. So that's an expensive one. A lot of claims going out, and so this is it's surprising to me. It's surprising to me that that's the way that they chose to deal with it. And I hope it's not over. I hope your rep goes back to his regional manager, and the regional manager says, no, this guy's a loyal customer. We need to take care of this guy. Yeah, Nathan Tiles the World, who's Visions Tile, a friend of mine on Instagram, he just commented that could just be your rep not quite handling that properly. So
so that's right. Like, he did tell me, he said, I'm not here to tell you yes or no. I'm here to do an investigation, and that's it. So I'm waiting. He said it'll be another 2 weeks before I actually hear from. But what they did offer me was a new. He said he did tell me, and this is his exact words: all we can do for you is give you a new line drain. That's it. So they didn't offer. He didn't offer to do any repairs, nothing. And I said to him, I said, I've seen where you guys have covered 100% the cost of the repair, and he denied it. He said, no, that doesn't happen. And I said, I've got proof. Go on YouTube and look. Like, there's many that you have covered. No, that doesn't happen. No, I don't know if that doesn't happen in Canada. it only happens in the U.S. or everywhere else around the world. I don't know, but I did tell him. I said, listen, you covered it. You covered the cost even of a homeowner.
Yeah,
And
yeah, that's a good
I'm a
point.
contractor. Lawyer uses your product.
Yeah, that's a good point because I don't know if Schluter United States is a different company than Schluter, but I thought, I mean,
Yeah,
they call it Schluter NA, Schluter North America.
right.
So I think that's the company that covers Canada, the U.S., I don't know, Mexico, I guess, if they do them, but yeah, mostly Canada and the U.S. So yeah, um,
Right.
hopefully, yeah,
So
hopefully this rep goes back to his regional, and they have a discussion. They talk about what happened, and they take care of it.
yeah,
Because yeah, if so, is if this is their new policy going forward, uh, that means that there's a lot bigger problem than we initially thought there was. And
yeah,
again, my interest in it is that I, like you, have several of these line drains uh,
yeah,
being installed.
yeah,
Actually, have one being installed in a project that we just did about 2 weeks ago. Um, what I've done, though, I mean, because I've been aware of this, what I've done is I've only used these Schluter Kerdi line drains on jobs that are on slab foundations, which we do a lot of, and they're also below grade. So,
right.
if there ever did happen to be a leak, it's just going into basically the dirt below the house, and
Yeah.
it'll seep there, and there won't be problems. Any
hmm
wood subfloors, like you guys in Canada are probably mostly on wood subfloors, I would imagine.
Yep.
Um,
Yep. All
I'm not
floors. Yeah.
I'm not doing them. I just had a conversation with someone this morning. I said we're not doing a line drain until this gets resolved.
Yep.
We're not doing it.
I've said the same thing. I'm steering people away from them, and they're nice. They look nice. There's a lot of maintenance involved with them too, right? Like if people don't know to clean them and to take care of them, then that's a whole nother issue. And I make sure that I tell my customers you gotta every month or whatever when you're cleaning your shower, take that drain apart and clean underneath it and get the hair out of there. And
Hmm.
a lot of people don't know that, and
Yeah,
there's some health that could be a part of it also. So
yeah, and
yeah,
so until this stuff gets ironed out, and it's not just Schluter. I mean, the
no,
line drains in general are just prone to failure because there's such a long area that has to be sealed. It's not like a square drain where you got a small
no,
perimeter, and then also the using stainless steel. You know, is I get so much information from people as I do these videos because people will email me, mechanical engineers, people way smarter than me, and they share information with me about trying to bond to stainless
yeah,
steel is a whole different animal, and they talk about it in the aerospace industry, and they talk about different things. When you have
right,
different rates of expansion and contraction between two dissimilar materials, you're going to have problems with bonding, and that's the main thing. Is that those channel bodies, those stainless steel, it heats up when hot water hits it a lot faster than the tile assembly heats up. So
yeah, yeah, exactly.
that's kind of what I've come to understand. Again, I'm not an expert, and I couldn't swear the truth on that, but that's logically
Common sense. Yeah.
seems to be what's happening. So
hmm
yeah, I got another comment here from Matt Wendorf, who had a issue with Dietrich Heat, a splice going bad, and they fully covered the repair, no questions asked. So yeah,
Yeah.
their policy up until now, at least for contractors, they again, if it was a DIYer, I could see them saying, oh well, did you use all
Yeah.
set? Did you do this? Did you do that? Yeah, what thin set did you use with the
It's all Schluter. It's all set.
so
It's all
you
modified.
even used Schluter all set to put the whole
Everything's
thing
Schluter.
together?
Yep. The only thing that's not Schluter, like I said, is the wall is Den Shield.
Yeah,
But I mean that's
but you
it's
put the
Schluter.
membrane over it,
Yeah.
correct?
Yep.
Yeah, so that
Yeah.
should be a fully lifetime warranted system.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
anyway,
It's interesting. And so when he made that phone call after he discovered the problem,
hmm
they wanted him to take the drain out.
hmm
And I said, why? I questioned it, like, why do you need to
hmm
take it out? we can see the issue. The issue is right there in front of us.
Mm-hmm.
So when he took it out, he actually stopped answering any of my questions. He kind of went silent because
Yeah, he didn't
he
want
didn't
to say
want
too much.
stuff. Right? Exactly. So
So, so
he
I've
had a
had.
problem.
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
No, you go
No,
ahead.
he said they have a problem with um, contractors or even DIYers not putting enough all set down to securely bond the channel to whatever substrate you're on.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, that's not going to be an issue here. It's so he had to hammer it to get it out. So,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what else they're looking for beyond what is the obvious, but this is
Yeah,
where I'm afraid they're going to sit there and say, you didn't do this, you didn't do that, when clearly it was done. But
yeah. Well, I had someone reach out to me probably 2 months ago. Well, I think it was after that live stream I did. I can't remember exactly. And he was a lawyer from Seattle, and he was kind of prying, trying to get information about everything I knew about the failures going on. And he said he's putting together a class action lawsuit. So
mm-hmm.
I don't know if it was, and I believe he was talking about another manufacturer. I'm not quite sure because there was a Quick Drain had the same issues. It's almost the same exact issues. The very first linear drain that I installed, very similar stainless steel bonding channel with the fleece pre-applied to it.
Yeah.
That one failed, and that was in 2007. That was Quick Drain, was the manufacturer, and so I believe that they're putting together a class action lawsuit against them. And if I were Schluter, I would want the least amount of evidence out there possible. And again, I don't know what's going on. I have no idea.
Sorry, let me.
But the breadth and scope of this issue. I mean, Schluter
Yeah.
being the biggest manufacturer of these line drains out there, I think
Well,
it could be a lot of trouble for them.
yeah, exactly. And my thought is, so for me, this is going to be about a $2,500 fix. That's Canadian, so I don't know. It's like $1,500 American. I don't know what it would be in
Mm-hmm.
difference in price, but for me, it'd be about $2,500 if I can remove the shower doors without doing any damage to any of the trim and stuff around it. About a $2,500 fix,
Mm-hmm.
and for them to send out somebody to do all this investigation, to have all this whatever else they're doing, how much time and money are you wasting doing that and not saying to the contractor, okay, listen, this is what we'll offer you, here's $3,000, whatever, fix it, walk away.
Mm-hmm.
You're spending, if it comes down to it, and I don't know how far this is going to go, if they end up paying for the fix, well, now they've not only paid for the fix, but they paid for all the time and energy they spent getting
Mm-hmm.
to that point, on top
Yes.
of paying for the fix. So I don't understand why they're spending, when they see the obvious problem, why they're spending so much time and effort
Mm-hmm.
on something else when they can just fix the problem.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the policy for a lot of if you think your main job is to limit the damages that your company is paying out, if that's one of the
Yeah.
main jobs that you do, you're going to do everything you can, right, to be the best at that. And I think so when
Yeah.
people are dealing with warranty claims, and this isn't just Schluter, this is all probably every company in America that has a warranty claim, they're going to try to maybe string it along, kick the can down the
Yeah.
road. The more time you get in between it, a lot of people just say, I'll
Yeah.
deal with it, right? And so I think if they can make it difficult and have a bunch of steps, that probably limits the amounts that they need to pay out. So that's probably what they're doing with
In
it.
the a customer without a shower they spent lots of money on, right? And at
Yeah.
some point in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to have to go back
Yes.
and pay out
And
of
do
my own
something.
pocket to fix it, to get it back up and running,
Yeah.
because I can't leave them without
That's
they've been super patient, and I can't imagine if it was anybody else other than these
nice,
homeowners,
nice
how
people.
oh,
Yeah.
fantastic, like they've been so patient. It's been 3 weeks since they could use their shower. It's been 2 weeks since I was able to get a hold of the rep to come out to even look at the shower, which was this morning.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's another 2 weeks before I even minimum 2 weeks before I even get an answer or response from them as to
Mm-hmm.
what's going to happen forward, and then who knows how long after that, right? So
Correct.
at some point, I'm going to have to go back and fix,
Mm-hmm.
put the shower back together out of my own pocket.
Mm-hmm.
Where do I go from there? Are they going to cover that or what? So
Yeah, I
remains to
would
be seen.
probably just document everything.
Yeah.
Create a line itemized estimate and just have it ready for when you can send it. Document your hourly rate, whatever it is, and be
Yeah.
ready to
Yeah.
submit it. Because yeah, I would be absolutely shocked if we talked in a couple weeks that they hadn't come back and said, here's something, here's
Mm.
whatever it is. Even some sort of settlement like, hey, can we, here's a new drain, here's a roll of Kerdi membrane, here's a roll of
Yeah.
Dietra, whatever it is, and $1,500. Does that sound
Hmm.
good to you? Yeah. Okay, that's fair. Let's do that. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think there'll probably be something that comes your way again. I'd be pretty shocked if it didn't.
Yeah. I know I'm pretty sure that it's just what they're starting at,
Mm-hmm.
hoping to minimize whatever costs they have to put out. But I mean, that's not good enough for me. There's a lot
No,
of work to
yeah.
be done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
your stress level, your anxiety that you have to deal with doing this, and your customer kind of in limbo. That's
Yeah.
not right. It would have been way nicer. Like when I did this Dietrich heat warranty,
Hmm.
the first of all they said, because I called my rep. I've known him for almost 20 years. He worked at a local tile shop before he went to Schluter, and so I
Hmm.
have him, in my contacts on my phone. So I hit him up and I said, hey, I think we got a Dietrich heat sensor issue. He goes, okay, well, you got to kind of jump through the hoops. You got to call customer service first, and they're going to walk you. You need to be on site, and they're going to make you walk through it. And I go, man, I've already troubleshooted this thing. I know what it is. I put
Yep.
100 of these things in. I don't need to sit on the phone with technical service, whoever it is, and go through the
Yeah.
whole thing again. Now I'm wasting another 2 hours of my day. I've already
Yeah.
spent you know, 2 half days trying to troubleshoot it. And
Hmm.
so he goes, okay, well, you know what? Just call them and tell them that you talked to me, and we'll get a claim going. So I was able to kind of bypass that because I have a personal relationship with him. And then
Yeah.
he came out. So then I had to meet him at the job site to diagnose what it is, even though we already knew what it was. And at that meeting, he said, "Yeah," he said, "We're going to take care of it." He said, "We're going to take care of it," and that's all I said. I go, "Okay," that gave me peace of mind. I'm like, "Okay, this is going to get taken care of." I can tell the homeowner. I mean, and being without a heated floor is different than being without a shower. I mean, you know,
Right.
just but still, it was nice to be able to tell them right at that meeting, this is going to get taken care of. As soon as we get the parts in, we're going to schedule it. We'll come out and do the repair. It
Yeah.
was pretty seamless. I did submit my invoice to them after, and they kind of they didn't really like my invoice, but
It
it's the rates that I
is
charge is
right, like
for my
you're doing
company.
a job. Yeah.
Yeah, and they ended up paying it, and so I was grateful for that. It was a good experience, and so yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm just kind of shocked that they have treated you this way up to this point, and I hope it's just the beginning, and I hope they do right.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I felt for the rep because it's not an easy job to do. I was actually asking him, how he likes his job, and he said, well, he's on his way to Toronto, downtown Toronto, this afternoon, which is an hour and a half away through traffic and whatever else, but just dealing with like even my customer was there,
Hmm.
and he's upset too. Clearly, and the
Hmm.
and the rep was ready to pack up and go home, and I said, no, just continue on, take out what you need to take out. I don't want to stop you from doing your full investigation so that
Hmm.
there's nothing come back on me or the homeowner saying you didn't allow us to carry on. But
Hmm.
tough job. It's a tough job for him to have to do. I feel that for him. But at the same time, the issues are pretty clear
Hmm.
as to what the problem is, and I honestly didn't see why we had to take any more out than what we did, because
Because you could see what the problem was.
yeah, it was pretty clear. It was 100% clear what the problem was.
Hmm.
And like I said, we had water sitting in it overnight. up to the drain, but not into the drain, and never leaked bone dry, never leaked a drop. As soon as we
Filled it up
filled that drain,
of that line.
yeah, it leaked immediately. Yeah, so that's when he started taking it apart.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, I told him, I said, there's lots of proof that you guys have fixed, taken care of people who have
Mm-hmm.
done more what I did,
Mm-hmm.
taking it apart or trying to fix it, and he didn't believe me. He's like, no, we that doesn't happen. That
Yeah.
doesn't happen. And I thought, okay, well, it does, but
Yeah. So the other thing that's surprising to me about this is again, I think I showed this one to you from this. This was an Instagram
yeah,
direct message that I had gotten. This was back in 2021, but this was an
yeah,
install from 2014.
right.
So
So 7 years old. Yeah,
yeah, so that's an old one, and then so you had just installed this a few months ago, right?
2.5 months ago. Yeah, it's only
So
been
two
in
and a
two and a
half.
half.
So we have a track record from 2014 to present day of
Yeah,
these line drains failing. So the whole story about this was an isolated incident um, does not add up.
no, and
This is a greater mechanical failure
yeah,
issue.
exactly, and it's not being
It's not being talked
told,
about, not being
not being
addressed.
told. Exactly, and that was the homeowner when he was there today. He said to the guy, why aren't you telling these contractors about this issue? And the rep said, well, it's only been 2%. Like of millions and millions we've sold, only 2% have had this problem. Would you make that an issue? And the homeowner said immediately, yes, of course I would. Immediately, of course I would.
Well,
Why wouldn't I?
2% of 2% of 2 million is a lot.
Exactly what we said. Yeah, we're like, that's a lot. Like of course you would make that known. That's a lot of failures. And while we were sitting there, his phone rang, and the lady on the other end, he had it on speaker. He said, "I have a leak, a line drain leak." And so I don't know if that was the same problem that I'm having. I have no idea,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm gonna have to go look at another one. And so it's a definite issue, and the fact that we as contractors or even a homeowner who buys these are not being made aware of this issue is a big problem, because now Schluter's saying you did all this work, all this trying to fix it. You should have called us first. Well, now I know to call you first, but prior to this, I didn't know that, because I've never had a problem with your drains ever, and I've used
Mm-hmm.
dozens and dozens and
So you
dozens of
just so you assume that it's your fault. I mean, you
exactly.
take yeah.
You take responsibility. You do what you do to try and fix it until you realize that it actually isn't your problem,
Yeah.
and then they come back and say, "Well, you shouldn't have done that." And I'm like, "Well, how are we supposed to know that?"
Yeah. So
There's
what
no way of knowing.
happened? Yeah. So what happened with the Dietrich heat sensor issue that they had? So yeah, they sent out Dietrich heat cables with bad sensors in them, and
Yeah.
they went to every distributor and pulled them off the shelves and put the new sensors that were good into those boxes. So they proactively, I mean, I'm sure it was a ton of work and a logistical nightmare to get all the Schluter reps to all the distributors to do it, but they did it. And it seems
Yeah.
like this would be kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
If they had a bad batch, right, they would have serial numbers. They would know where they were at. They'd go find them.
Right.
They'd pull them off the shelf. And that's why I don't think this is what it is. I think this is a greater issue, trying to bond tile assemblies to stainless steel. I just don't think it's
And it's smooth stainless steel too. It's not really even etched. Like if it had
it's
some sort
shiny.
of
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, if it had some sort of etching or something, it might bond better. But
it might, but
yeah,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
not. And I have a bunch of those Dietrich heats out too. So that's another thing that's got me concerned. Like up here in Canada, during the summer, like it's hot right now, so we don't, nobody has their floor heat on, but come fall,
Yeah.
they all go on, right? So we'll see. Like I did, I think I did several alone just last year. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it'd be interesting to see what comes of those too.
Yeah, the one that they were having the problem is did you notice that they changed their sensors to a single wire with two conductors in it, a black and a red? and
Right.
it's those sensors that were bad. So if you see them and there's just two paired up black wires, those are the
Yeah.
ones. Those are the ones that are good. Those are the ones that they used forever. Then they switched to this manufacturer that went bad, and now they're back. So that's a pretty simple fix. So again, the line drain fix is the one that could
Yeah.
pose a lot of trouble for them because the amounts of damages are just so high. I mean, you said
Yeah.
$2,500. I mean, our labor rates are between 1,000 and 1,500 a day, and so
Yeah. I know. Yeah.
if you're talking pulling glass,
Yeah.
pulling tile, you're kind of doing surgery. I mean, the fastest like one row repair that I've done, I did it over 2.5 days. It took us about 2.5 days,
Yeah.
and they were long
Yeah.
days. I mean,
The
the
minimum
2 days,
3 day fix. Yeah.
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 So, and then you have on top of that, can you find a match for the tile? You know, is the
Yeah.
dye lots going to be the same? Is there even tile? So so once you get to that point, now you're talking, okay, this is a whole shower. Well, the whole
Yeah.
shower cost, 12,000, 15,000 to put in. Not only do we need to put in a new shower at that cost, we need to put in another $1,500 for demo,
Mm-hmm.
and so these amounts can, especially here in the states, we have very. It's probably similar in Canada, but you talk about California. I think the median priced home is over 800,000, and
Yeah.
so we're continuing a lot of these metro areas, San Francisco and Los Angeles. I mean, you're probably average house is probably 1.5 million.
Yep.
So
Yep.
so the
Yep.
labor rates to support those industries and for people to live and work in these areas, the labor rates are very high here, and
Mm-hmm.
so
Yeah.
you,
Same here. Same here. So
yeah.
we're up in what's called cottage country. So it's we're surrounded by water, lakes. There's more water here than land.
Mhm.
And anybody who has any kind of property is on the water. Like the house that I did those Detroit Heat in just
Mhm.
last year. It's right on. It's called the Trent Severn Waterway out here. You can go anywhere in the world from there.
Wow.
These are $1 million. Like the house I worked on is a minimum $3 million home.
Yeah.
Uh, and it's there's several houses like that in the
Mhm.
area that all have these kinds of products in them, right? And like the one place, it's in the upstairs. There's 3 stories, and it's in the upstairs that has the line drain, and it's got insulation on every floor for soundproofing.
Mm.
So for that to manifest a leak would take, I don't know how long it would take. The insulation would start soaking up the water long before
Mhm.
it show anywhere on the ceiling below it, right? So
Mhm. Yeah. So
how do
so
you find these?
yeah. So that's the thing. You'll hear contractors that have said, "I've never had a callback," right? and and you go, well, you have no idea. You have no idea because for one, most people sell their house within
Yeah.
um, you know within what, 6, 7, 8 years. Most people move, and so if the failure hasn't happened till after that, the people don't know who put it in or what it is. They don't know what a Schluter drain is.
Exactly.
It's kind of a similar thing, and a lot of people, they do flip houses. They build a
Mm,
house, sell it, and they don't have contractor or manufacturer information anymore. So there's a lot of
exactly.
things that happen where these problems can be forgotten about and not really brought to light. So that guy's saying 2%. Well, that's 2% that you know of and have
Yeah.
probably been able to confirm on some level and not kind of weaseled your way out of.
Hmm.
So the number is probably much higher than that in actuality.
It it has to be. It has to be. If they're failing here and they're failing there, they're failing everywhere, and it's
Yeah,
it's
from 2014 to 2023, yes, that there's a lot of them.
yeah.
There's got to be a lot of them.
I just hope they step up and and fix the problem. To do for you to do what you're doing and be an advocate of it is a big deal because guys like me, yeah, I'm a contractor. I've done many of them, but I don't have the channel that you have
Hmm.
to to get that out there the way that you can. So, you know, I appreciate that more than you know.
Well, you're
And
welcome. Yeah, and I feel it's kind of one of the purposes of my channel. It's the reason why my channel grew in the first place, was being on
yeah,
the side of contractors and homeowners and not manufacturers. And so,
yeah,
you know, that's why my channel grew. That's why I have the viewership I do. And so I try to use it to help people out where I can, not necessarily manufacturers. And that's kind of counterculture to most
right,
influencers on Instagram or YouTube. You know, they're trying to sell to companies, so they're trying to be on their side. And you know, I don't have anything bad at it. I don't have a vendetta against Schluter or anything. And I've said
oh,
that
me
from the
neither.
very
Yeah,
start. When I first started doing my testing videos, I'm like, look, I'm friends with all the Schluter guys. I've been using Schluter for many years. I'm
yeah,
not trying to just like discredit this company. And most of
no,
like the loyalists for Schluter or whatever product. It's not just Schluter. It's, you know, I've done it with Grout. I've done it with different things
yep,
where I've shown limitations of the product and people get really upset. And I go, look, hey, I'm not, you know, this is my channel. I feel this is, you know, part of the reason why it's here. So I'm just going to have
no, I
honest
love Schluter.
conversations. Yeah.
I've always loved Schluter. I've always, you know, I've used it. I'll continue to use their products. I won't use line drains until
Hmm.
they get this figured out, unless, you know,
Hmm.
the customer really wants it and they know the issues. But I mean, it's a great system. I mean, there's systems out there. The topical systems are, there's a few of them out there now that are, you know, are worth trying.
Hmm.
RSS. I don't know if we can get revolutionary shower systems here
Hmm.
in Canada. I don't know if there's a and Flow Effects, same thing. We do have a distributor, but you have to order it and bring it in. Like for me, to get the Schluter system is easy. I can go
It's on the
to
shelf.
my, it's on the shelf.
Hmm.
Exactly. There's two or three different hardware stores right close to where I live that carry that product. They don't always carry exactly what you want. My supplier, who is about 45 minutes away, they carry everything, and if they can't get it, they can get it from me the very next day.
Hmm.
And so it's easy to get. Whereas, you know, FlowFX, which I'm excited to try, is I have to order it, so I've got to wait, you know, whatever time it takes for it to come in the mail.
Hmm.
And same with RSS. It'd be nice if there was a distributor or somewhere close by I could try this product.
Yeah.
Or just compare. I would love to try and compare it to.
Yeah, well, once you get the flow effects, you'll notice right away the difference of the bonding flange drain from the Schluter, and
Yeah,
you can just hold it, touch it, and you'll know right away that
yeah,
it's
I
a,
have already. Yeah, I took it out of
oh,
the
have
box
you?
the other day.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
it's pretty cool, and it was cool because they sent me some other stuff too, little gifts in the box, right, to try out, and I thought it was just great. So
Yeah, it's neat. Yeah,
excited to try.
yeah, it is neat. So yeah, you can use, yeah, if you can, you know, order up a bunch of bonding flanges, and then you could still use Schluter with it. That's the thing
Yep,
with
yep,
FlowFX. They're not going to say because you use Schluter membrane on the FlowFX drain that you voided the warranty. I mean, that's
yeah.
such a cop out. You know that that's not the issue. We know that the
Yeah.
membrane is good. So, uh,
The shower I'm doing now, it's a Schluter pan. It's a center
uh-huh.
drain pan with the Flow FX drain, but
Yeah.
I still like the Schluter pan. You got to be really careful. I think you mentioned that too. You don't want to step on it.
Hmm.
You don't want to kneel on it. If you're gonna kneel down, put something hard down. But
Yep.
you know, you kneel on it. But I mean, that's with any foam pan. You got to be careful with them. But I still love the product, and I'll continue to use it because it's a great product and it's available, it's readily available.
So did
That
you
being said,
use,
there's other products too. So
yeah, so this one that failed, was it a foam pan or did you do a
yep,
mortar bed?
no foam
Wow,
pan,
so you used their whole system, foam
whole
pan.
system. Oh yeah, everything. Yeah, yeah. The
Uh,
only thing I didn't use was their shower curb. I don't like their shower curbs. They're just a little too.
too
They're too
big.
big.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can cut them down, but even with them cut down, they're still too wide to put,
Hmm.
you know, a 6 inch sill plate on there.
Yep.
So I make my own, and I make sure it's got dense shield and wrapped in Kerdi, so
Hmm.
it's good. But
So that's solid. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
well, Paul, I appreciate you, you know, coming on and telling your story. Again, I think
yeah,
it's just information that we all need to know. We're
yeah,
just having a conversation. no agenda, just
No.
talking about what happened. So I appreciate you telling your story. Our viewers can kind of make up their own mind. I know, like Nathan, who was on here before, he's just used Schluter forever, and I think, you know, you get comfortable with the brand and you want to use it, but it's good to just know that some of the flaws that are out there, know what to look for, and maybe, you know, just steer, because we don't need to do these. That's the thing. People, there's really no point to doing these line drains. There's really
They
not.
look nice, but
Yeah, I mean, it's a design trend. It's not something we did up until, you know, about 10 years ago. If you would have put a line drain in a shower 10 years ago, they would have thought you were crazy for putting a meat market drain in their shower,
yeah,
you know,
exactly.
or a landscaping drain in their shower.
Yeah,
So it's a
French drain.
style. Yeah, it's a style that's going to go out at some point. So maybe that's what I would probably encourage viewers to do until they get this thing figured out. Uh, and inform
Stick
your
with
customers, and maybe
the
release the liability from yourself if they so choose to do a linear drain, and then encourage them to do square drains. And you'll have a beautiful installation. You can do envelope cuts if you want to use large tiles.
you can still use large tiles. Yep.
Yeah. So anyways, that's what I hope that our viewers here gather from this. And for you, I wish you luck on your warranty claim. Hopefully they do right. I believe, you know, that they will, but keep in touch, Paul. If you'll keep in touch with me, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, definitely we'll do that, and we'll know in the next couple weeks.
Okay.
Where we go.
All right, Paul. You have
buddy.
a great day, man, and thanks for watching
Isaac.
my videos. And everybody else, I love you. I love being your tile coach, and we'll see you on the next video.
See you, Isaac.